Yeah, HR, High Roller Records, Diamond K.
Shorty about making that money. Shorty about making that money. Shorty about making that money. In the dark or when it's sunny. Shorty about making that money. Shorty about making that money. Shorty about making that money. In the dark or when it's sunny.
She said she wants some money, but I ain't got no cash. Straight to the app store, download it real fast. She said she wants some money, but I ain't got no cash. Straight to the app store, download it real fast.
Shorty about making that money. Shorty about making that money. Shorty about making that money. In the dark or when it's sunny. Shorty about making that money. Shorty about making that money. Shorty about making that money. In the dark or when it's sunny.
Hit my cash app. Hit my cash app. Hit my cash app. Boy, where my money at? Hit my cash app. Hit my cash app. Hit my cash app. Boy, where my money at?
Shorty about making that money. Shorty about making that money. Shorty about making that money. In the dark or when it's sunny. Shorty about making that money. Shorty about making that money. Shorty about making that money. In the dark or when it's sunny.
Girl, what you wanna do? Tryna get next to you. Girl, what you wanna do? Tryna get next to you. Girl, what you wanna do? Tryna get next to you. Girl, what you wanna do? Tryna get next to you. She said she wants some money, but I ain't got no cash. Straight to the app store, download it real fast. She said she wants some money, but I ain't got no cash. Straight to the app store, download it real fast.
Hit my cash app. Hit my cash app. Hit my cash app. Boy, where my money at?
Okay.
Hit my cash app. Hit my cash app. Hit my cash app.
I'm
Boy,
ready
where
to go
my
in.
money
Okay.
at?
Yeah, HR, Alright. High Roller Records, Diamond K.
Oh, I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
All right, RadioOnFire.com. Yours truly, Diamond K, in here. Thank you for joining me. Of course, we are broadcasting from Radio on Fire Studios here in Baltimore. We also have a studio in Atlanta. But I'm in Baltimore right now. And, you know, some things came across my desk that I want to touch on. And, you know, it seems like every couple months I have to go here. I have to go back to this topic because a certain individual by the name of Dame Dash, I'm going to say he's legendary in his own right, Dame Dash. Dame Dash is someone who was connected to Jay-Z early on, connected to Biggs early on, connected to Rockefeller Records early on, and obviously he's not connected to Jay-Z now for whatever reason. And the reason that is, as far as Dame Dash sees, is Lyor Cohen. That's who he blames for the death of Rockefeller Records. And this is not something that is not known to us. We have known this for quite some time. And ever so often, Dame Dash wants to throw, whether it's Lyor Cohen, whether it's Steve Stout, whether it's Kevin Liles, he wants to throw these people under the bus. Dame Dash throws these people under the bus. And why does he do that? He does that because he is crying over spilled milk. You know, he sees Jay-Z doing this thing, right? And then with those green eyes of envy, he says, you know, I'm supposed to be here. And then, you know, when you're recounting things, like if you got a girl, you break up, you recount, if you wanted her back, or if she's doing her thing now, and you looking, you envious. How did this go wrong? Wait, how did I get off this gravy train? How is it now that I'm not getting money with the same people I was getting money with before? So instead of looking at yourself from within, Dame Dash blames other people. And as I said, one of the people that he blames, he probably blames this person the most. The person that he holds the most responsible for this is Leo Cohen. Now, I think he should hold himself responsible, but he does not. He holds Leo Cohen responsible. So he calls Leo Cohen a culture vulture. Culture vulture. Okay, fine. And let me say this. He's funny. He's slick, right? Because he tries to, on one hand, say that a culture vulture is somebody that is not from the culture, who comes in the culture and makes money from the culture. That's what he says. He says it is somebody who comes in the culture, it's not of the culture, and rapes the culture, takes from the culture, does not give back to the culture. That's what he says, Dame Dash. That's what he says a culture vulture is. So, that's pretty much what he has. And so he says that Leo Cohen. So who are the culture vultures, right? Are there people who come into culture and take from the culture and don't give back? Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, we have to define what that would be. And in his haste to try to tear down Leo Cohen and Steve Stout, Kevin Liles, he tries to use words that are derogatory to describe these people, and then supposed to make you lose respect for these people, and then he accomplishes his goal. That's what he tries to do, and this is Dame Dash I'm talking about. So, what happens here is this. He uses these words, and using his definition, I'm using his definition. His definition. He says that a culture vulture is not someone who's just white. They could be somebody who's black. And he says that a black person who's a culture vulture is the worst one of all. So he's saying that it is not based on race, okay? Because he said that Steve Stout is a culture vulture. So what makes Steve Stout a culture vulture? Only because Dame Dash doesn't like him. That's the only reason. All of the people that he names as culture vultures are people that he has personal issues with. That's it. So really, Dame Dash's definition of culture vulture would actually apply to himself. He's not a rapper. He can't rap. He's not a DJ. He can't mix. He's not a producer. He can't make beats. What do you bring to the culture, Dame Dash? I'll wait. What makes Dame Dash any different than Leo Cohen? Leo Cohen doesn't do any of those things I just named. He's somebody who's behind the scenes that works with the artist, right? Steve Stout, same thing. He doesn't rap, doesn't do any of those things. He works behind the scenes. Same as Dame Dash. So Dame Dash, what were you bringing to Rockefeller Records? What were you bringing to Jay-Z's whole thing? Couldn't Jay-Z have done everything he did without Dame Dash? Yes, he could have. Dame Dash is a culture vulture using his own definition. But what I'm saying is happening is that, and it's been back and forth with Funk Flex and Dame Dash about this most recently. And so here's what really shows you how Dame Dash is. So earlier, he made some statements, and he wanted to point to some statements made by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And he wanted to illustrate how Leo Cohen has been, in the society of rap. And the minister was talking about people outside of the black culture capitalizing and finding ways to exploit the black culture. So he wanted to use that as his example. So he said, he used in his post Farrakhan's words. Farrakhan said, whenever we're talented, there's always a white person, particularly a Jewish person, that would see merit in our talent and desire to exploit it for their personal gain, make us famous, but keep us dumb. Now, these are the words of Minister Farrakhan, and Dame Dash wanted to post this. Now, Farrakhan goes on and says they'll always want to see if they can offer you money and make you betray the confidence and the trust and the love that you started with. And he feels that this statement applies to Funk Flex, I'm assuming. Now, in his caption, Dame Dash made sure that his message was clear. He said that @Louis Farrakhan has been warning about this person for years. I'm not going to stop until Liar Cohen, he's talking about Leo Cohen, the culture vulture of this generation, quits YouTube music or gives me a fair one. I don't care what career coon, that's supposed to be Funk Flex, tries to defend him or whoever. CEO beef. Do it for the culture. He's a liar. Never send someone from my culture to do your dirty work. So he's talking about Leo Cohen sending Funk Flex to do his dirty work. I'm calling you out. Holla at me. Merry Christmas. Hashtag stay tuned. And no disrespect to anybody Jewish. This dude doesn't reflect the whole culture, just the Jewish culture vultures. Just want to be clear, this is not a black or white thing. It's a mentality thing. The black culture vultures are worse than the white ones. He used worse wrong, but that's okay. So that's what he said. So he tried to clean it up. So Steve Rifkin, for people that don't know who Steve Rifkin is, Steve Rifkin is Jewish. He was the CEO of Loud Records and SRC. So he's done a lot. Now, he does not rap or produce or DJ or any of that. He is somebody behind the scenes, just as Leo Cohen, just as Steve Stout, just as Dame Dash, just as a whole bunch of other CEOs, you know what I mean, just as Russell Simmons. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Just as DNY from Rough Riders, just like Suge Knight. These are the people that are behind the scenes that work with the artists. Everybody can't be an artist. You got to have some people that are behind the scenes. So if these people are behind the scenes, does that make them culture vultures? No. It only makes them culture vultures if Dame Dash does not like these people. Because other than that, there's no difference between these people and Dame Dash. That's what I'm saying. So anyway, so after he made this post, Steve Rifkin, as I said, from Loud Records, which put out Wu-Tang and countless others, Steve Rifkin inboxed Dame Dash, you know what I mean, respectfully, to let him know that it wasn't cool what he said about Jewish people being culture vultures. Because that's what Minister Farrakhan was saying. Minister Farrakhan specifically said Jewish people. So Dame Dash is saying it's not Jewish people, it's only this one Jewish person. So why even mention? If that's what if we flip it and you say black people, I ain't talking about all black people, I'm just talking about this one black person. Then why do you even use the identifying thing of their race or their ethnicity, right? So Steve Rifkin, as I said, inboxed him and let him know that he did not appreciate what he said. But he, like I said, he did it respectfully. And Dame Dash wanted to let him know that, you know, his words, were they misinterpreted? Like, what did he mean? Of course, Dash wants to go and say that it's not a Jewish thing, blah, 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 blah. So then he says that my Jewish brother, Steve Rifkin, checked me real fast because that's what men do when there's a misunderstanding. To be clear, the culture vulture does not represent all Jewish people, but all good Jewish people should get at him because get him out of there because he's giving y'all a bad name. My message is love, self-awareness. I am anti-slavery of the mind. I want peace, not war. Awareness and respect will avoid the war. Let's all evolve together. But he said he wanted a fair one, right? He said he wanted a fair one. Wouldn't it be crazy if Leo Cohen washed Dame Dash up? Wouldn't that be crazy? You know what I mean? How are you going to say he wants a fair one? This goes to show you that this is just personal. This is not anything more than something personal between Leo Cohen and Dame Dash. But here's what's crazy about the whole thing. What's crazy about the whole thing is the only person who has this beef, because Leo Cohen doesn't even acknowledge Dame Dash. So Funk Flex said the things that he said about him because he just chose to save them. I don't think that anybody sent anybody for him. And Steve Stout has not said anything. And he is still yet to tell us how Steve Stout is a culture vulture. Everybody that's involved in hip-hop is not going to be a rapper, a singer, a DJ, or a graffiti artist. You're going to have promoters. You're going to have managers, which Dame Dash has managed many artists. And every artist that Dame Dash has worked with in the past doesn't have positive things to say about him. You know what I mean? So it's just like, could they say that he's a culture vulture? I mean, it's ridiculous at this point. We've talked about it many times. Leo Cohen's history, Dame Dash's history, both have contributed greatly to hip-hop. Both of them have. Now, just because you have a disagreement with somebody does not mean that they are raping the culture. And it's funny that people go to that, because if you look at the Lox, when the Lox had issues with Diddy, he said things like this. Then they went back later to do business with the very person that they said was so bad, right? That's just like in a relationship. You say shit that you don't mean because you're mad at the moment. And you say these things. But it doesn't really make them true. That's all I'm saying. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, at The Diamond K Show, at Radio on Fire.